We've come into the Huawei shop today because I'm very interested in these new phones that they have. Full screen, no notch, just a tiny little dot in the front of the screen. This is, along with the Honor V20, Huawei's offering of the no notch smartphone. As you can see, very much like the Honor, you've just got this tiny hole punch in the corner of the screen. You might ask yourself, what is the difference between the Honor and the Nova 4, considering they're made by the same company, Huawei? I just asked the guys in here and they said, not a lot, actually. If you look at what's inside, they both have 8 gigabytes of RAM, they both have a 6.4-inch screen, LCD, they both have the Kirin processor, they both have almost the same cameras. 48 megapixel this one has on the back, f1.8, 16 megapixel f2.2. On the front you just have this single camera here and the notch on the top for the earphone. This one has a 3,750 milliamp hour battery, the Honor having a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So what is the difference? Having both of them in my hands, having the Honor previously, I can tell you that these are almost identical in every way. So why have two brands? I asked the guy and he said the design and the manufacturing of the Huawei is a little bit better. You have some metal on the back, although it does sound like plastic, the Honor being a little bit cheaper. Having said that, the Nova is 3,100 RMB and the V20 from Honor is 3,500 RMB. It's more expensive. Why are they having two of the same phone under two different brands? Well, because they can. Some markets they might sell one, some markets they might sell the other. You're going to get exactly the same stuff on both of these, considering it's the same company. Let's see what we have here. We have the camera. You have all the same settings. You have the AR camera, which is like the iPhone with the Panda. You get actually way more with Huawei. We've got a lizard here, a dog, a fish, a penguin, a rabbit, the list goes on. You have night mode on this, which will help you out low light situations. We have portrait mode, normal camera mode, video mode, obviously. What I will say about this camera is it is crazy sharp. What is it? A 48 megapixel camera in here. So in low light, it's not going to be as good as maybe the iPhone or the Samsung with slightly less pixels. But I know the lighting's good in here, but this is crazy sharp. You can even see it on the screen, 1080p screen, but it just is so sharp even when you zoom in. 2 times optical zoom, and then you can digital zoom in from there. I'm not sure if this one has image stabilization, optical image stabilization, because shaking the hand, it's a little bit shaky. The AI is going to be exactly the same as you're used to if you've got an Android. There is a swipe up to go home, I think. Swipe up to go home, whereas if you're looking for the Honor, then that still has the capacitive buttons on the bottom. This one's like the iPhone. If you come into an app, you just swipe up to go home. Apps pre-installed on here. You have Weibo, obviously, all of the most popular apps in China, Meituan, Jinre Toutiao, Douyin, Kuaishou, all of those, Zhefubao as well. Obviously, you're going to put your own apps on here. You've got the Huawei App Store, which in China is really decent. It's made for this market. Abroad, you may be suffering a little bit there, although you'll get the Google Play Store, so you've got no problems. Let's take a look at the back of the phone. Obviously, you have dual camera setup here. It seems like a third camera. It doesn't actually say anything here about what the cameras are. You've got the main shooter here, which is a 48 megapixel plus 16 megapixel plus a 2 megapixel one on the back. And then the front camera, tiny little notch on the front here, is a 25 megapixel, and it is incredibly sharp. Again, you're not going to get grey low light out of this, but it's crazy sharp. I know the lighting's good in here, but Huawei phones do make you look really good when you're taking a selfie. I'll give that to them. The design is almost like the perfect size for a smartphone. This is literally just ideal handhold. It's just right there. You don't need it any bigger, you don't want it any smaller. Bearing in mind that the screen is literally 100%, except for maybe this tiny notch at the bottom. The top has no notch, the side has no notch. On the side here, you've got power button, volume rockers. This side has nothing except for the SIM card tray. On the back here, you still get the fingerprint unlocking. It's going to be really quick. I can't set it up in the shop, but it's placed right on the back where you put your finger. By now, that should be perfect. On the top here, just on the very top, is the earphone. You get a headphone jack. If you like the headphone jack, you've still got them in the Nova 4. I think this is an IR blaster, it looks like, on the top, if you need that. Not many people do these days. Single speaker grill on the bottom and USB-C charging. This one is the grey version, although they also have this like rainbow, purple, blue, neon colour as well. I would probably go for the black one, to be honest. It's my style, but they're pushing this colour a lot these days. This is just a phony phone, so we can't see, but it's nice to see what the colour is. I would say that actually the fingerprint sensor on here, because it has to be matte, sort of sticks out a little bit. I actually prefer it on the back of the black one. It just blends in nicer with the back. So the Nova 4, the main thing about this phone obviously is the tiny little camera notch, little punch hole in the left-hand corner. The rest of the screen is completely free. It looks really amazing. This is definitely the future of smartphones. Obviously, flagships are going to start doing this too. It seems like the Nova and the Honor 4 are some of the first to have this notch. Samsung is obviously going to come out with something like this too. But these look incredible. This is such a step forward from the big center notch. It's incredible. It doesn't get in the way of the UI. It just looks like a part of the notification panel at the top. When you're watching videos, you're just not even going to notice it there. It's a really, really good design, and I think it's going to make a lot of people upgrade and switch to such a tiny notch at the top. The UI and the operating system you're going to be well familiar with if you use Android. They're virtually all the same now. But having said that, for 3,000 RMB, the design is crazy good. It feels like a perfectly sized smartphone. It's amazing how these mid-tier phones like 3,000 RMB, you can just get such an incredible device. Really, really good. What is the difference between this and the Honor V20? I literally have no idea. The specs are exactly the same. I guess they just had to make lots of the phone and put it out across their two brands. The choice is yours, whether you want to get the Honor or the Huawei. It's the same company, the same operating system more or less. And to be honest, either or is going to serve you really well. Really, really good hardware.